Change, change, change. Can you give me some change? April 2003. We were continuing our descent into Bush's war. Do you remember? There was the no-fly list. Ted Kennedy had the no-fly list. He was, what's happening to me? Ted Kennedy was on the no-fly list. He was refused a seat in the plane 3 times. And terrorism alert. Red, brown, orange, green, blue, who knew? And how about the word liberal? Liberal became synonymous with the word anti-American. Do you remember? It was as if the world was peppered with anxiety and fear, just like a spring storm. So my husband said, why don't we go to a baseball game? It's a good idea, baseball game. So we started walking across that bridge, my family and I, you know, the one that leads up to Yawkey Way. And they're there. You can see them if you look for them. The homeless people. Some have limbs, some don't. Some have cups, some don't. And one had a song. Change, change, change. Can you give me some change? My husband slipped a few dollars into the cups as we went in. The game was wonderful. I don't remember who won. But we were 3 rows back from the dugout at the Red Sox. We could see their expressions as they went up to bat. And I could see the expressions on my husband and my family's faces, and they were happy. But what I did notice was that the crowd seemed just a little bit louder that day. And the intensity in people's eyes was just a little bit more. As we left the park, we left in a sea of humanity. We went in wave upon wave of short steps across that small bridge. And they were there, the homeless people, their cups extended. And behind me, I could hear a group of young guys, late teens, early 20s. And they were talking a mixed conversation of, we're going to give those Iraqis what they deserve. Going to bomb the hell out of them. And who do you have next week for psych? I heard Clark left. And then I heard ping, ping, ping. I was interested. What was that noise? Ping, ping. Over here, homeless blind guy. Oh, you missed again. Ping, ping, ping. I was curious. I turned around. And there was one of those young guys. He had red curls tucked up underneath a Red Sox cap. He was pitching pennies to the blind homeless man. Now, I know he was blind, not because of the cane he used to poke the streets of Boston to find his way, and not the stare that he had, the vacant stare out at the world, but with intensity he held the cup, trying to locate the sound of where the penny would fall next. But you see, that was impossible, because every time he came close, the boy with the baseball cap, he changed the direction of the cup, the pennies. And I had a voice inside my head said, if you don't say something, then you're just as bad as he is. Sounded an awful lot like my mother. Now, I always listened to my mother. And she believed it takes a village to raise a kid. And I turned around, and before I could stop myself, the words were out of my mouth. And I said, you know, everybody deserves to be treated with respect. If you would like to give him some money, then why don't you just give him some money? I'm helping the homeless here. Leave me alone, lady. And I said, you're taunting someone that can't help themselves. If you'd like to give him some money, why don't you just give him some money? What are you, some kind of liberal? The word was out. I was labeled. And I thought, this isn't about politics. It's not about if you're a Republican or a Democrat, or it's about being good to people. And he looked at me and he said, I bet you're an anti-war activist. Whoa. People started putting their heads down and walking by. And I thought, I'm in trouble here. And then I thought, everything's mixed up. When I was growing up, the college kids were the liberals and the conservatives were the parents. And when did it become unpopular to treat someone humanely and decent? Well, he was going on. Anti-war person, you're anti-American, aren't you? And I had had it. And I looked at him and I said, "Why, you're a rabid Republican, I bet, just racing for a war you don't understand." The word, I love alliteration, and the words came out of my mouth before I could stop them. It was not a good move. And he grabbed me. And I thought, oh. And my husband stepped in, and I thought, this can't be. I saw the look on my daughter's faces, and I stepped back, and I said, "I'm probably about your mother's age. And would you treat your mother with such disrespect if she disagreed with you?" Well, he didn't get it, but his two friends did, and they pulled him off. And I looked down the street, and I saw that homeless man with his cup out. Next to him, I heard, "Change, change, change, can you give me some change?" And I thought, right at that moment, I didn't know what country I was from. It was not familiar. And I thought, boy, if we could ever use some change, it would be right now.